They're both at funerals, different time.
John Perry Jones.
John Perry Jones.
Noel Griffith.
Thank you.
And Ron Speechley.
Right, Ron Speechley. Sorry, Rob.
And
Brian McMahon. Yeah, great. Thank you. Mick Francis is an apology today, and so is Andy Walsh. So we'll go through the roll call. Well, before we do that, guests today visiting Probus members. This morning is our guest speaker. We have Gauthier, Brabandere. I'll introduce him formally later on, but he's accompanied today by his wife, Bea. So good morning to you, Gauthier.
Thank you.
And also to you, Bea. Thank you. So I hope you enjoy your attendance here today. Yes, thank you. Are there any birthdays, anniversaries? Yes, Joe.
Last week on Thursday.
Yes, what did we celebrate?
86.
86th birthday. Congratulations. Yeah, doing well. Any special occasions or other anniversaries? No? Okay. All right. We're not inducting anybody today, so I'll just go through the roll call and just acknowledge your presence. So, I don't believe Robert Evans is here today. I know we've been trying to get in touch with him, and Gary's been trying to get in touch with him.
I have spoken to him, yeah.
Yeah, all right. You might be able to tell us something a bit later on.
Okay.
All right. Peter Bedford?
Yeah.
Thank you. Noel Benson? Bert Berriman?
Yes.
Bruce Present. Good morning, Bruce.
Yeah.
Hector Davis?
No.
Michael Doherty's an apology. Myself, Len Edwards. Robert Herbacher.
Yeah.
Alan Evans.
Present.
Brian Fitt.
Present.
Noel Griffith.
Apology.
Thank you. Frank Henning.
Yep.
Morning, Frank.
G'day.
Bob Hill. Great to see you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well done. Detlef Hengst. John Horsfall. Reg Jackson. David Jones.
Yeah.
Dr. Joe Blansford. Good morning again, Joe.
Yes.
David Lund. Jerry Mazzolini. John Metcalf. Gary Nervo, no. Gary Papworth.
Yep.
John Perry Jones is an apology. Max Pearce. Graham Ratton.
Yep.
Kevin Ryan, an apology. Will Semler.
Apology.
Yep, thank you. Ron Speechley, apology. Colin Stiles. David Taylor. Liz Sterling.
Oh, sorry, here's an apology.
Thank you. Keith Tupper.
Present.
Livio Turacek.
Yeah.
Andy Walsh is an apology. Yep. And Reverend Ian Williamson. Good morning, Ian. Now, this is an old list, and there's, I might have missed somebody. Is anybody that I've missed this morning?
You had one there with someone who was Max Pearce on my list.
He's passed away.
Right, else. I said I've got an old list. I know it's not up to date. And two other wrestlers have just walked in. Obviously, we're having a cold pot downstairs. Well, that's warm enough. They can be forgiven. Okay, we'll move on to reports. We might leave the Secretary's report for the moment because he's busy.
I've got a guest.
Underground.
Ted Breer's my guest.
Who's your guest?
Ted Breer.
Ted Breer. Good to see you again, Ted. Yeah. Sorry I missed you. Okay. David Taylor's here. Len Edwards is here. That's good. Okay. Bert, we got any money?
1,020 in the bank, and we got 139 in petty cash.
All right. Otherwise, things stable.
I think we're all right.
All right. Getting...
I managed to get involved without touching any of it.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, you'd be the last bloke. As long as we're getting 10% of Latrobe Financial, we're happy. We don't care. Okay. Almon's report, if we've got one.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people through the course of the week. The two that are worth, I should mention, Noel Griffith, who can't come because he can't sit. He's got trouble with his back and he can't sit in one place in this sort of chair for a long time. And Ron Speechley is okay, but he had a medical appointment today, which he seems to have off.
Yep.
It's been good to talk to Ian Williamson and Bob Hill and see them here today.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd appreciate it if anyone knows of anybody who needs the gentle ministrations of the armour, if they'd let me know. Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to be in great hands, that's for sure. Thanks, Graham. Activities, Gary Papworth.
Thanks, John. I won't change the microphone. Probably can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Just would like to mention this morning to everybody that's here, I think everybody that's staying for lunch has done so. Pay downstairs for your lunch and your meal, and I think it's working okay that way. They've got the numbers that are quite good. Also, I've been asked by the manager this morning, no one's to go behind the counter, new rules and regulations. Even if we didn't have any water this morning, she had to come and do it. Also, as of next month, the meals have gone up to $19, okay, for a 2-course meal. That's the new seniors meal, okay? So I'll put it in the newsletter for them to do that. Okay, the President's Barbecue on Tuesday the 23rd, well, I think it was quite a good success. The people that went, I think everybody enjoyed themselves. We had 38 there. It was really, really good. It was great. I thought anyway, a lot of work, but still it was good. I'd like to thank all those people, that probably not all here today, that helped on the day, because without them, we don't have any outings or barbecues without the help of other people. Wednesday the 28th of February, we're joining the other clubs for a bus trip to Elvin Gardens. The cost is $40 per person for the bus and has to be paid today if anyone's going. I've only got a few on the list there. Our club's been let down a little bit. The other clubs have got quite a few going, and we only have a few going. The pickup is in Hardyman Street in Brabandere Park in Plenty Road at 9:30 and return at around 3:30 p.m. There's not been a lot of interest in this outing at this time, as I just mentioned, but anybody who'd like to go, please give me the money today and put your name on the list and you can join in. Also, I have had a visit yesterday from Belinda, from Group Link Travel on tours that they're going through this year. The Portland trip for next month, the 8th till the 12th. She's doing one in March, the 22nd to the 31st to Japan in the spring. Then she's doing the Murray Princess from the 9th to the 17th of May. Then she's going to the Cook Islands, the 21st to the 30th. Norfolk Island, the 8th to the 16th of June. Central Australia, 15th to the 24th of July. The Great Australian Bight from the 4th to the 13th of August. Perth to Broome, the 2nd to the 14th of September. And this one should be really good. The 23rd to the 27th of September, they're going to Toowoomba to the Carnival of Flowers, which would be great. Tasmania, the 30th of September to the 7th of October. And she's also going back to Japan in autumn for November 24. Okay, anybody's interested, I have got a few pamphlets there. If you want to have a look at any of these trips, I've got them. She brought them to me yesterday. Okay, thanks everybody for your help, okay?
Thank you, Gary.
There's one other little outing I draw to your attention. That's Tuesday, April 23. This is the magnificent Maribyrnong cruise. After some planning and discussion, it's thought probably best to go via bus. So it'll be a bus pickup, and we alight at the Maribyrnong and we disembark from the Maribyrnong, but a bit further upstream, and the cost is about $50 a head, and we can fit on board maximum 30 on the boat, and in the bus 25, so we might use a few car extras, but it should be a really good day. The Maribyrnong River Cruise.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Colin. Colin, are you in position at the moment to you've got a secretary's report?
I can talk a little bit later.
Okay.
We'll try and fix this.
Still 60 minutes?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, 24.
Graham, Member's Corner. You want to do it from where you are, or do it in the week, then we'll just wait for it to sort it out.
This one. Okay, whatever you want me to do. From wherever you like.
Well, if you can do it from there, that'd be great. We're still
Okay.
All right. So we're advancing in the members' corner. Graham's happy to stand up where he is, and we'll hear from him now. Thanks, Graham.
The Alex, the man from Snowy River, is something that many people think should be regarded as an Australian icon. Now, the word icon is an interesting word, a four-letter word, easy to say, easy to spell. It's got three different meanings, all unrelated. An icon can be a religious painting, which is often brightly coloured and often on wood, and beloved by some of the Eastern churches, particularly churches like the Greek Orthodox or the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. An icon can be a little picture on your phone or your television, which enables you to enter applications by pushing it. And finally, an icon can be a person or thing that's of historical importance. And what would fit into this group would be Farlap, Hills Hoist, Victor Moa, Don Bradman. And I think that it's not unreasonable to think the man from Snowy River might fall into this group, because the man from Snowy River has been the subject of a film which was produced in 1880, in the 1980s, and it's the subject of a bush festival which is held at Corrion each year. It has been since 1995. It's often recited at functions in country areas, and the
text is okay, but
the
picture's fading.
author of the poem has his picture on the $10 note with a horseman and rider in the background. So it's an important thing. Now, it was written, of course, by Banjo Patterson, Andrew Barton Patterson, but it was also only came about because of the relationship he had with another person whose name was Jack Riley. Jack Riley was born in 1838 in Ireland. He was, excuse me, he was not well educated. He worked from a very early age as
You had the first
in a tailor's shop, and he was, of course, 30 years younger than Banjo Patterson. They were in a different era. Riley came to Australia at the age of 13 as an assisted migrant, would you believe, on his own. He was, of course, escaping the potato famine in Ireland, which ran from 1845 to early 1850s. People were leaving Ireland in droves because they were starving. And Australia at that time was looking for tradesmen and farmers. And they were actually offering assisted passages to people like that in order to provide the manpower to get Australia going. So he came as an assistant migrant at the age of 13. He did have a sister who lived in Omeo, whose husband had recently died. So he disembarked in Sydney and made his way to Omeo, where he got a job with a tailor in Omeo. After a short time, his sister remarried and moved away. So he got sick of being a tailor, and he got a job as a stockman on a station near Corrion. And he did his job very well on this station, developed a reputation as being a skillful and fearless rider, and a person who was very good with cattle and horses and stock, and having a detailed knowledge of the high country. Now, in 1890, Banjo Patterson, who at this stage was in his mid to late 20s, was travelling through the high country with some friends, and they came upon the hut in which Jack Riley lived. Jack Riley lived by himself in a hut on the station. And they struck up a friendship, and they did a lot of talking together, lubricated, I think, with lots of whiskey. And Patterson was very taken with this guy's stories of the high country and of the life that he led there. And it was these stories that led him to write the poem, The Man from Snowy River, which was published first in the Bulletin in 1890, sorry, getting my century mixed up. So the poem goes like this. There was movement at the station, for the word had passed around that the colt from Old Regret had got away and had joined the wild bush horses. He was worth £1,000, so all the cracks had gathered to the fray. All the tried and noted riders from the stations near and far had mustered at the homestead overnight, for the stockmen love hard riding where the wild bush horses are, and the stock horse snuffs the battle with delight. There was Harrison, who made his pile when pardoned on the cut. The old man with his hair as white as snow, but few could ride beside him when his blood was fairly up. He could go wherever horse or man could go. And Clancy of the Overflow came down to lend a hand. No better horseman ever held the reins, for never horse could throw him while the saddle girths would stand. He learnt to ride while droving on the plains. And one was there, a stripling, on a small and weedy beast, something like a racehorse undersized, with a touch of Timor pony, 3 parts thoroughbred at least, such as are by mountain horsemen prized. He was hard and tough and wiry, just the sort that won't say die. There was courage in his quick, impatient tread, and he bore the badge of gameness in his bright and fiery eye and the proud and lofty carriage of his head. But still, so slight and weedy, one would doubt his power to stay. And the old man said, "That horse will never do for a long and tiring gallop. Lad, you'd better stop away. Those hills are far too rough for such as you." So he waited, sad and wistful. Only Clancy stood his friend. "I think we ought to let him come," he said. "I warrant he'll be with us when he's wanted. At the end, for both his horse and he are mountain bred. He hails from Snowy River, up on Kosciuszko's side, where the hills are twice as steep and twice as rough, where a horse's hooves strike firelight from the flintstones every stride. The man that holds his own is good enough. And those Snowy River riders on the mountain make their home, where the river runs those giant hills between. I've seen full many horsemen since I first commenced to roam, but nowhere yet such horsemen have I seen." So he went. They found the horses by the big Mimosa Club. They raced away toward the mountain's brow, and the old man gave his orders. "Boys, go at them from the jump. No use to try for fancy riding now. And Clancy, you must wheel them. Try and wheel them to the right. Ride boldly, lad, and never fear the spills, for never yet was rider that could keep that mob in sight, if once they reached the shelter of the hills." So Clancy rode to Whelan. He was racing on the wing, where the best and boldest riders take their place, and he raced his stock horse past them, and he made the rangers ring with his stock whip as he met them face to face. They halted for a moment when they saw the dreaded lash. They saw their beloved mountain full in view, and they charged beneath the stock whip with a sharp and sudden dash, and off into the mountain scrub they flew. Fast the horsemen followed, where the gorges, deep and black, resounded to the thunder of their tread, and the stock whips woke the echoes, and they fiercely answered back from cliffs and crags that beetled overhead. And upward, ever upward, the wild horses held their sway, where Mount Mash and Currajong grew wide, The old man muttered fiercely, "We can mid that mob today. No man can hold them down the other side." When they reached the mountain summit, even Clancy took a pull. It well might make the boldest hold their breath. The wild hop scrub grew thickly, and the hidden ground was full of wombat holes, and any slip was death. But the man from Snowy River let his pony have his head. He swung his stockwood round and gave a cheer, and he raced him down the hillside like a torrent in its bed, while the others stood and watched in very fear. He sent the flintstones flying, but the pony kept his feet. He cleared the fallen timber in his stride, and the man from Snowy River never shifted in his seat. It was grand to see that mountain horseman ride. Through stringy barks and saplings, over rough and broken ground, down the hillside at a racing pace he went, and he never drew the bridle till he landed safe and sound at the bottom of that terrible descent. He was right among the horses when they climbed the farther hill, and the watchers on the mountain, standing mute, saw him ply his stockwood fiercely. He was right among them still as they dashed across a clearing in pursuit. They lost him for a moment, where two mountain gullies met in the ranges, but a final glimpse revealed on a dim and distant hillside the wild horses racing yet, with a man from Snowy River at their heels. He ran them single-handed till their sides were white with foam. He followed like a bloodhound on their track till they halted, cowed and beaten. Then he turned their heads for home, and alone and unassisted brought them back. His hardy mountain pony, he could scarcely raise a trot. He was blood from hip to shoulder from the spur, but his pluck was yet undaunted and his courage fiery hot, for never yet was mountain horse occurred. And up on Kosciuszko, where the pine-clad ridges raise their torn and rugged battlements on high, where the air is clear as crystal and the white stars fairly blaze at midnight in the cold and frosty sky, and where around the overflow the reed beds sweep and sway to the breezes, and the rolling plains are wide, the man from Snowy River is a household word today, and stockmen tell the story of his ride.
Get this contraption back on. Not sure if I know it, but for those who have ever been up on Mount Kosciuszko and Gauthier and B, you may not have been there, it's a magnificent country. And I was sitting there listening to Graham and remembering some times that I've been up there. Sometimes I closed my eyes and I opened my eyes and I saw every person in this room was concentrating on you and absolutely captivated by your recall of that magnificent poem. I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 13 verses, something like that. But an absolute, I don't know, I'll be lucky to get 2 out before I study that for a week, but fantastic. You talk about icons. That was an iconic presentation, unforgettable, Graham. I will not forget that for a long, long time. So thank you once again for having us together. Yes, yeah. Well, I think it's the sort of thing those of us Aussies relate to it and relate to, particularly this story. I didn't know anything about Jack Riley. I know this Jack Riley's grave at Corrie. I've been there because I worked in that region a long time ago and was interested in it. And I had a brother-in-law who was a bushie around the sale yards at Wodonga, and he used to take horses up there, up to Pilot and up near Dead Horse Creek near Kosciuszko. And yeah, just iconic place, wonderful place. There you go. Now, Colin, how are we situated?
Getting there.
Getting there? We need to have a short break before Gauthier.
I think a short break of 2 minutes would be lovely.
Okay,
But it
all right.
does work because there it is.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll just have a chat amongst ourselves and the secretary will let us know when we're ready to go. Thanks. Tom Douglas. Kirk Douglas. Don't like him. Yeah. Yes.
Jack Thompson.
Oh, good. Do we know his name? Oh, right. Okay, all
They all stop down there and play.
This is the second find their way in whatever. All right.
I'll send you that I'll be looking at places staying in
Is it loud and clear? It's good connection. Bruce,
Oh, yeah.
Murphy.
All the big smoke plans are
No problem, no problem.
I was up there for 2 weeks.
For some reason, not long.
This time, a 5-day trip to Belinda, then I'm staying there for 10 days. I'm going to stay for 10 days. I can go away and I don't have to worry about it.
That's fine.
Use the land.
David, would you be enough to keep That's it? Yep. Yeah.
Time has come.
If he keeps that up, he's the bell ring at Notre Dame never gets a sack. We know where we go for a replacement. Quite good at that. Now, it comes time to introduce our guest speaker. So, our guest speaker today is Gauthier Brabandere. Welcome again, Gauthier, and also welcome to B. I understand Gauthier's presented to us in the past, and it's great to have him back. I can introduce him as a past president, I understand, of Probus, Belgium from 2019 to 21. And he's now representing European Probus clubs in Probus Global, together with another person from France. What that enables Gauthier to do is to maintain contacts, particularly with Probus France and Probus Netherlands. He's also reaching out to Germany and other European clubs, and I think there'll be a fascinating talk from him this morning about what is happening on that great big continent of Europe. Gauthier was to present some slides today, and there's a technical hitch with our PowerPoint, so that won't be possible. But as I understand it, we might be able to get him back later on, a later time, on a Zoom meeting, perhaps. I think that's the way to go and be able to present those slides, so we'll look forward to that then. But in the meantime, we welcome you here today, Gauthier. Look forward to your chat with us. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, John.
What you all have there.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good day.
Well, good morning to everybody. It's really a pleasure to be back amongst you. It's been 5 years ago. I first met Robert Erbacher at that time, and President was John Metcalfe, whom I had a pleasure to contact, and he invited me. And hearing that Bea was also a Probus member, he asked that she could talk maybe of her experience in setting up the first mixed gender Probus club in our hometown. Murphy has played its role, but we'll see how we can cope with that. The intent was to bring you a picture of Belgium, an idea of Belgium. Second, Probus in Belgium, and then to go over to Probus Global and end up with the best speaker of the two, my wife. How do I change the slides? Simply the arrow down?
No. This works.
Okay. Oh, you have them all now.
Oh, we have a conspiracy here.
It's called technology.
Well, so the idea of Belgium, we had a few pictures of cartoons that are well known, some better, in some countries better than in others. Asterix and Obelix, if that can ring a bell to you, no? Tintin, they ring a bell. So they originated in Belgium. We also had an idea, so why do I put on the N? Yeah. Time Cut Cemetery, World War, the Commonwealth warriors that fell on that place is a huge cemetery which is visited and which some of you may have visited. It's one of the so many cemeteries of people who lost their lives in Europe. On the economic side, the Port of Bruges is the second port in Europe. The Ghent Flower Show is another event that takes place every 5 years, which attracts people from all over the world. And I also included a picture of the modern railway station of the city of Liège as an idea of new constructions. Belgium is also the center of the European Union, with the European Parliament in Brussels, and Brussels, very likely known to you by either Mannequin Peace, the little peeing man, or the Atomium, which was built at the occasion of the World Exhibition in 1958. The Grand Place of Brussels is also a well-known place, and in the industry, the idea was not to cover the whole economy, but two important branches of industry are the pharmaceutical industry as well as declining, yes, but textile and carpet industry is still a pretty strong branch in the economy. We're part of the European Union. Belgium was a founding member in 1958, if I'm not mistaken, with 5 other countries. That was France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, and Luxembourg. And I'm looking at Bea because she will correct me if I'm going wrong. So those 6 set up first a community of coal and steel, and that grew out to become what is now the European Union of 27 countries after the Brexit. We were 28 as long as Britain was in it. I have this in a picture, so you have to imagine it and you will see it later on. Belgium is a kingdom founded in 1830 as a buffer between the big nations, Germany, France, England. Separated from Holland, because in 1815 we were together with Holland, and the country was on itself seceded from Holland in 1830. It's a kingdom, and we have presently the 7th king, King Philip, with Queen Mathilde, who may be known. They have been already on missions, amongst others, to Australia. Belgium counts 11,600,000 inhabitants, but has also a practical problem of different languages. You have English as the common language. We have 3 languages as official languages of Belgium. And spread out in Flanders, the language is Dutch. 60% of the population of those 12 million are speaking Dutch as their mother tongue. In Wallonia, the language is French, and that's about 30%. Brussels capital is, in principle, bilingual. And there is a small German-speaking region, a remainder of the end of World War I. That was a little territory that was attached from Germany to Belgium. Germany in 40 was very happy to take it over again, but they came back after the Second World War to Belgium, and that's about 80,000 people. If I'm too fast, just holler, eh? This was supposed to be a picture of Belgium. You have to picture it a little bit like that, with the language border right in the middle. Dutch on the north towards the sea, Holland, France is on this side, Germany is there, and the little German corner is close to Aachen or Aix-la-Chapelle in Germany. France is here. So the south is in territory about similar to Flanders, but has much less population. To give you an idea, you all know how large Tasmania is. Belgium is about half the size of Tasmania. And on that half size of Tasmania, there are 12 million people. I use the same picture to step over to Probus, because Belgium is divided in 10 provinces, and a number of the provinces are also a region, a Probus region. It is West Flanders, that is our province, close to France. If whoever knows a little bit of France, Lille, the northern town, big town in France, is just 20 kilometers away from my hometown. And that is about here. In that region, there are 27 of the 119 Probus clubs. Second is East Flanders. Antwerp is number 3. 4 is Limburg. And then the French-speaking region is split in 2 Probus regions, despite the fact that there are 5 provinces. In the German-speaking part of Belgium, I had hoped that as long as I was in the National Committee of Probus, that we could start up a Probus club in the German-speaking part, but that did not succeed. The history of Probus in Belgium, so you all know that it was started in England, 1964. In '84, a person named George Dick, a member of Antwerp, one of the Antwerp Rotary clubs, picked up the idea in England and brought it to Belgium and started himself 2 clubs. One with his Rotary Club Antwerp Ring, and second with friends of him in the south part of Belgium in Huy. There was between 1984 and 2000 growth of a number of clubs and members, creating between the start and the year 2000 74 clubs. That speed or that tempo slowed down since 2001 and came to a standstill during COVID period, of course, and is picking up again. In West Flanders, my province, we had last year 2 new clubs and a third one being chartered within a couple of months. So now we have approximately 119 clubs, despite the fact that I think about 4 clubs had to stop their activities due to attrition, coming down to 6 or 7 members and no longer being viable. For some who are interested, there is no legal identity, it's not a corporation or so it's an organization in fact, which is possible in Belgium, but is for instance not possible in Holland, not possible in France. Membership, 4,200, right? By far not the numbers that you have in Australia and New Zealand. 4,200, of which 84% still men, 16% ladies. Of the 119 clubs, there are 57 or 48% only men. For instance, my own club is one of the only men clubs in the city of Gauthier. And 63 mixed gender clubs, no ladies only clubs, which you don't, in France until last year was only men clubs, nothing mixed gender. And in Holland you have the 2, but you also have ladies only Probus clubs in Holland. If you split it up in the regions, you have, you see 3/4 of the members in the Dutch part and 1/4. The territory of the French-speaking part is much more spread and less populated, less industrial. It's the old industry, the steel industry was in the south, and that has faded away, and it's much more difficult to create new clubs or attract new members in the south than it is in the north. The demography of our clubs, there are about 11 clubs either new or in decline with less than 20 members. 20 to 50 members is the majority, with an average of 40 members. Bia's club has 38, my club has 47. New members, we used to have an annual growth of between 250 and 350. Due to COVID, that was completely down, and that's picking up again. The average age from 68 to 89, depending on the situation of the clubs, with an average of 78. As an organization, we have a national committee, which is comprised of basically 7 people, a national president, and that was a role I held from 19 to 21. Normally 2 years, we made it 3 because of COVID. We called one of the years none. And 6, that's why I mentioned the 6 regions, Probus regions, 6 regional coordinators who have as a role to be the contact between the clubs and the national committee. At the national committee, each of its members speaks his or her own language, which is French or Dutch. The national committee is being supported by 6 people: secretary, finance, there's a small Probus shop, communication, webmaster, and somebody takes care of the insurance. Sometimes this is mixed with taken care of by one particular person. Right now, finance and insurance is by the same person, but that can vary depending on the practical situation. And we have the support of, in each region, of a regional ICT person in order to further the use of technical information without Murphy or solve the problems Murphy. Like what I realize now from Bruce is that this is being registered. This presentation is being registered, and people at home can watch it. So we're not that far yet. And this is, well, I'll come back to that when I talk about Probus Global. That is the means which we have taken over in Probus Global. The role of the regional coordinator, I briefly mentioned it already, the liaison between the national committee and the region. So some regions have 13 clubs, other have, my region has 27. So it's quite a difference of practical time use for the regional coordinator. And for the 3rd time in the history, the national coordinator, as of next year, will be from our region, and it will be, for the 2nd time, a lady. They organize annual club meetings in club president meetings, in the region. The one took place last week in our region. Stimulate new membership, to insist with the clubs not to forget the average age, and in order to have a renewal by having younger members, which is all over the world, where Probus is the same problem, I think. Also assist and sponsor creation. We also had, during 14 years, no more, we had last year the 25th National Probus Day. That's always organized by one club or a group of clubs, not by the national committee. But the regional coordinator of the region where it takes place is assisting it and is linking it to the national committee. So the 25th, since Probus was founded in Belgium, in Antwerp, in Antwerp was the 25th was held in Antwerp again. We had problems trying to organize that every year around 2010, and decided then that we would alternate a national day one year and a regional day the next year. So we now all ready. So we ask the same thing, find Probus clubs who will organize the regional day. We had it, the national day in 2023, delayed because of COVID. All of those meetings were delayed. So now in 2024 it'll be a regional day, and in 2026 the 26th national day. Communication, we have nationwide the website, and I wish to congratulate you on your own website, on your newsletter. We have what we refer to as a newspaper on the website, which is, if somebody else, one club brings in an article, it is right away put on the website as newspaper, and then later on reproduced in the newsletter, or picked up in the newsletter. There are practical letters simply to the committees of the clubs, and there's an annual directory, but which is not open to the public. Some clubs have monthly or quarterly newsletters, and here again, I managed to have a look at your website. Congratulations. Some clubs have no websites of their own, some have their own development, and some have it on the common website of Probus Belgium. Club activities are very similar to what you have. It's lunches, it's speakers, activities, visits, excursions, and annually a trip. I mentioned already that there are club president meetings in each region annually, and the national day, regional day, and every year there's also a golf tournament. For now, 2024, our region will organize several clubs, amongst others, VS Club, will be organizing the golf tournament, and that's on a rotation basis, voluntary. To award specific members who have done more than usual for Probus, the George Dick Award was created in 2007. George Dick, remember, is the person that started Probus in Belgium, and so since then about 190 awards have been granted to members. What do we do with other countries? We work together with Holland because the logo of Probus was protected against copying. And you do that for a period of 10 years. And so at that time, in 2003, the national president set that up under his own name. But 10 years later, you cannot transfer that, it remains his property. And so instead of passing it on to his children, who were not Probus members, we created, together with Holland, a legal entity in Holland to protect, to take over the protection of the name and the logo. Since in Luxembourg there are no Probus clubs, it's valid for Belgium and the Netherlands, but the protection is for the three countries. France has its own way to protect in France. If I have a look at the neighbours, of course the United Kingdom has quite a larger number of Probus clubs and members. It was founded in 64, 65, as you know, and they reach a total of approximately 60,000 members. They're not organized in a national way. France was created in 1991 by the first club, again by the same Mr. George Dick. Created the first Probus club in France. They now have developed and reach 65 clubs with about 1,400 members. The Netherlands are ahead of us, 1977, and they reach 14,000 members in 450 clubs, so much larger than Belgium. They have a population of roughly double what Belgium has, 19-20 million. So they really have more clubs per region, per number of population than Belgium. France much less, and Germany is, they have created 13 clubs since 1994, but it's a slowdown for I don't know how many years. I think more than 15 years, not a single club has been added to that. And they're all in the same smaller region of Germany. And now I come to Probus Global. I happened to get to know Probus Global in 2020. There was a creation in '96 of an international Probus network that meant to create communication between Probus members worldwide. And that was quite reasonably successful. I've never known of it at that time, but IPN was first up and then dwindled down, declined in importance, until in 2018 a number of people, Canadians, Australians and British, set up and tried to develop a means of working, mainly with internet, instead of other communication means, and set it first up before starting to spread it. And that took them 2 or 3 years, and called it Probus Global. And since then, Probus Global has, with the same purpose, to increase membership, to assist where necessary, certainly in places where there are no Probus clubs available yet, or and to generate initiative, also to exchange. So we had to have the visit of the webmaster, who happened to come to Belgium, and he came with us. By this year, so they started off with about 18 or 20 members, and by this year they have over 1,235 members. Membership is for free. The only request they have is that you are a Probus member. And an international team of 13 people make up the central organization. The current president, the second one, is a Canadian. The previous person was a lady, an English lady. There's a webmaster, regional coordinator for Canada, and a club administrator who are Canadian. Australians, the editor for the newsletter is Australian, the regional coordinator, and there's a third free member who has been a member of the Bureau for quite a long time, well, since the beginning. In Europe, France and Belgium joined forces together with a Frenchman. We took up the challenge to try and spread Probus Global on the continent, not in England, but being on the continent, that means essentially, as you've seen, Holland, France, Belgium. We've tried to make contact with the German clubs, but that doesn't run very smoothly. They're very much on their own. The UK, Scotland, India, New Zealand have regional coordinators who are represented in the committee. So as I've said, membership is at no cost, and you can find all information at Probus Global. And there is a newsletter, there's brochures, presentations. What triggered me at first was like that I could get to know through a presentation, Probus Australia, Probus New Zealand, France, India, Belgium. I used the presentation that I gave in 2021 to prepare this one. The structure is the same. So whoever goes to probusglobal.org can find the presentation of 2021, but Bruce will help us to get today's in a better shape. So here we should have the picture of a tandem with the Frenchman at the front and me at the back. And that was prepared by Bea. Now I would like to pass on the word to Bea, since John had asked her to give something, present something on the mixed gender clubs. I think Bea is better placed than I am, although I've been around Belgium for it. Apps.
All this electricity,
Yeah, like that.
very dangerous. It's electricity.
Have a belt.
Shall I hold it? I'll hold it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
How do I move for the pictures?
Either way.
Okay. I'm glad to be able to speak to you all. As you can see in Kortrijk, which is a city of about 90,000 inhabitants, there are, for the moment, 7 clubs. There's 3 men only, those were the first clubs. Rodenburg is a club where Gauthier is a member. And in 2008, a regional coordinator thought it was time that women could be member of a Probus club. So he asked the 3 clubs, well, would you be prepared to accept women members? And the answer was quite straightforward, no. No way, they said. So, well, the only solution was to start a new club, and the new club must be a mixed club. That was done Mountain and Color. In 2008, a few people came together to think about it, make some provisional rules. I will talk at the end over the name Mountain and Color, because it's a bit special name. In 2009, the club was chartered, and since then, 3 other mixed clubs have been started. In Kortrijk, we also have the privilege of having quite a number of joint actions with different clubs, which makes things very interesting. I think that you have a slide on that too. Yeah. For instance, New Year's lunch with all the members of the 7 clubs are invited. It's a way that members of the different clubs get to know each other. Since a few years, they organize also computer lessons for the people of Probus, and we can decide ourselves what has to be on the program. It's not a formal education in ICT, but the members can tell before, well, I would like to learn more about this or that, and so on. Since 1917, there's also a film forum during the winter months, and the winter months with us are October, November, December, January, February, March. Once a month, a special movie is shown, and a very interesting movie. We get an introduction of a specialist. We come together at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so we don't have to go there late in the evening. We have the introduction. We have the film, and afterwards there is time to discuss the film with the people who are present. And also a few foreign trips have been organized for members of the different Probus clubs to Moscow, to St. Petersburg, Andalusia. Greek Macedonia is now on the program for the end of the year. Yeah, Probus, Manten and Calle, there was a picture of Manten and Calle. Then, as you can see, we are the 100th club of Belgium. So I explained how we came to that first mixed club. So, and why is it necessary to have a mixed club? Well, we think our generation, so I'm a bit younger than many of you, has been used to mixed clubs. We have been in education in mixed group. We were at university in mixed group. At work, we work together, men and women. So it's for us normal if we meet in social activities once we are retired that we have a mixed public. So our first meeting was September 2008. The chartering was done in May 2009. We started off with 15 members, and for the moment we have 38 members, of which 18 ladies and 20 men. Then we established as a rule that the objective is to have 50-50. 50% women, 50% men, and in our charter it's mentioned maximum 60% of the members can be of the same gender, so maximum 60% women, of maximum 60% men. But up to now we succeeded in keeping that balance, so 18-20, so we'll look for a few more women members so that we have again the balance. We also stated that joining the club you should be not much older than 70 years because everybody grows gradually a bit older, so it's important when you accept new members that they are young, and thus in terms of retired people that you're still young. President has a term of 2 years, and the president is always the vice president of the preceding period. So you know by forehand who will be the next president. We also have a gender rotation in president. So once man president, for the next 2 years it will be a woman, and so on. Founding president in 2008 was also a woman. Dus also in our management team we have the gender balance, 2 women, 2 men in the management team. As Gauthier already explained, the activities are very similar in the different clubs. We have also monthly meetings, a lunch preceded by a speaker or a company visit. We have, during the year, 2 or 3 day excursions that can be visit to another city or an exhibition. Their partners are always invited. We also have an annual trip, 4 or 5 days, always in one of the neighboring countries, or sometimes a little bit further. We've been to Malta 1 year, we've been to Porto in Portugal another year, we've been in Krakow, Poland 1 year, but sometimes it's close by. It can also be the Netherlands or in France. something that's special for our club, I think we are the only club who do that, is a Happy Members Day. What does that mean? Well, quite often members say, well, I have to celebrate something. I've 50th anniversary of my wedding. I became a grandfather or a grandmother, so I would like to celebrate and join the club in the celebration. Because that is then spread over the year, we agreed, well, everybody who has to celebrate something special, 70th birthday, 80th birthday, and so on, they do that together. So then 3, 4, 5, 6 people get together and they organize a special activity. We don't know before what it will be. It's like a surprise day also. And yeah, everybody likes that. That it's not always the management who has to organize activities. There also the partners are invited. Normal monthly meetings we have lunch, but at Christmas and the summer barbecue it's more elaborate. It's more special then. And in between our monthly meetings, we also have sometimes sportive activities. We get together for those who want and have a bicycle tour, or we do a walk, or we visit an exhibition somewhere, an interesting exhibition. Others, and as I said, joint activities with other clubs. Yeah, here I have had a few pictures of Manten and Galle, but who are, why the name Manten and Galle? Manten and Galle are the bell ringers, yeah, the bell ringers of the Belfry Tower in Kortrijk. So, and they are like historic figures. And they are also the symbol for loyalty and team working, and because Manten, his real name was Amandus, he was a clockmaker, and he had to climb a ladder to adjust the clock. And his wife, Catherine, Kalle is a kind of abbreviation of Catherine, always held the ladder, so she was afraid he would fall down, therefore team working. We also say, as a part of the clock mechanism, they also symbolize the creativity and innovation in the region. And so the city of Kortrijk also think it's important to have some icons, as you mentioned a while ago, who represent innovation of the region, creativity of the region. And as guards of the bell tower, they also are considered the protectors of the city and the commercial activities of the city, because Kortrijk is a quite industrious city in the sense that there are a lot of companies, a lot of industrial and commercial activity, as compared to Bruges. Some of you have probably visited Bruges, who has been in Belgium, almost always visit Bruges. The size of the cities are about the same. They are 50 kilometers from each other, but Bruges is touristic, more cultural. It has also some industry, but not that much. But Kortrijk has more economic activities, so therefore creativity, innovation in these days is important. So that's what my part concerns. So I don't know if you have any questions.
To you or to me? Both.
Thank you, Gauthier, for an excellent presentation. Also, you, Gauthier. It seems to me that with we've got a membership of about 40, and I would say that our club would be, in terms of representation, we would be an average-sized club in Belgium, I suppose.
Yes.
To think that there's 119 clubs in an area half the size of Tasmania is quite a feat, I would have thought. 119, of those 52% are mixed gender. Can I ask you, Gauthier, Did those clubs start as mixed gender clubs, or has there been any clubs that have transitioned from men's clubs to mixed gender?
Well, at the origin, since started by Rotary, it was very natural to start only men clubs.
Yeah.
So up to 2000, there were very few clubs that were mixed. Yes, Antwerp Ring, the very first club, had 3 ladies members from the very beginning, but they didn't expand on that.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. One of the very, and that was an exception. I think in the year '86, there was a club at the coast that started up mixed, but mixed in couples. So married couples became members of that club in Knokke at the coast. But that was the exception.
Yeah.
Since 2000, and certainly in the south of Belgium more than in the north, in order to keep a number of members, quite a number of clubs have added their spouses as members. And not necessarily fitting the definition of Probus.
Okay.
As definition as professional or business people. But with a few exceptions, all new clubs in the past 15 years are mixed.
Yeah.
There are, even 2023 in Waregem, 10 minutes away from Kortrijk, we created a third only men club for that town.
Just on the point about the sort of definition of a person who qualifies to be a member of Probus, which goes back to the Rotary days.
Yeah.
You might be interested that Probus South Pacific, which governs Australia, nearly completed a revision of the standard charter for Probus clubs in that region, which they'll be asking to adopt, which is going to broaden that definition and take out the reference to professional business. So broaden the definition in terms of people who would be members in a retired, semi-retired capacity. But we've had a couple of people who were interested in joining who said, well, but I'm not a professional or whatever. Am I eligible to be a member? So that's been recognised by South Pacific, and they're broadening that in the charter that they're asking all the clubs to adopt.
Well, I think we're in thinking we're probably along the same line, in the sense that we always try to find and accept or suggest to accept people who are willing to engage themselves, who have proven to be engaged in their past, even if they were not perfectly fitting the industrial or business definition. But that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Members, have we got any questions for Gauthier or B?
I was curious. In Belgium, how much is sort of cultural of regions influenced by their language? Is the sort of the Dutch-speaking area, do they have a sort of different sentiment to the French-speaking area?
Well, difference. It's an interesting question. There is a very important difference between politics and elections and governments and etc. and the other life, the practical life. In Probus, no problem whatsoever of language. None. I've been going around in the French-speaking part, no problem. The reverse whenever there was a national president from the south and the north, no problem. And as I mentioned, in the national committee, each speaks his or her own language.
Is everyone bilingual?
Not everybody in Belgium.
Not everybody is bilingual, but we have as one of the rules that becoming a regional coordinator, you are expected to understand and speak at least a reasonable quantity of the amount of the other language. And I was lucky in the 6 members when I was a president. They all spoke perfectly the 2 languages. So with virtually the risk that we would continue in one language only. In politics, that's quite different. That's harsh, the one against the other.
Because your legal matters, they say, well, in this part, the government, and the Dutch-speaking part, government has to be in Dutch. All the rules, all the publications, and so on. So when someone, a French-speaking person, lives in Flanders, which is no problem, he cannot ask, can I receive my tax return or whatever official document in French? So when he lives in Flanders, it's in Dutch. When he lives in Wallonia, it's in French. When you live in Brussels, then you have the choice of languages. But the language battle in Belgium is more a battle of words, not a social battle. It's not. You cannot compare it, for instance, with Ireland, between the Catholic and the Protestant, Northern Ireland Catholic and Protestants were really fighting, and so we fight with words with the other language community, but we still stay friends. You can explain it like that.
Colin, most of us colonials won't have that problem. Brian, did you have a question?
I have a couple of questions. Bear mentioned that to be eligible to join, it's preferable to be under 70. I'd like to know if there's a maximum age, retirement age.
But yeah, no, that's the maximum age to join. So we prefer that people join when they're still young. Because if we accept members who are 80 years old, they are not always very active anymore, and maybe soon they will not be able to participate, and so therefore we say new members have to be young, and because the existing members get gradually older, so it's 15 years that our club exists, which means those who were 70 when the club started, or meanwhile 85 also, so everybody grows old. And we also have seen that members of Probus always grow quite old. In Belgium also, a lot of people are in their 90s or reach 100, so that's probably something positive for your health, being a member of Probus.
A ticket for long life. A ticket for long life.
I have a question for Gary as well. You mentioned Belgium, you talked about it, European Union. I'd be interested to know your opinion as to whether you think Britain will ever rejoin the European Union, and if so, will they be welcome?
Well, they were a member. They were a member, and I think for the Brexit, there has been a hell of a lot of misinformation to the British about what they contributed, and the popularity of Nigel Farage was saying that Britain paid so much to the European Union and didn't get enough from it. And whatever they would save like that would, for instance, go to the national health and whatever. So there's a lot of bullshit in that.
That sounds like
And
Boris
everybody,
Boris Johnson,
Boris Johnson executed then.
But he also told lies. Boris Johnson was not afraid to tell lies. He knew he wasn't telling the truth, but too many people believed him. So
they have suffered much more than Europe has suffered through the Brexit, through all the administration that went along with export or imports. Think also of the trouble of Ireland, Northern Ireland. Ireland still in the European Union, Northern Ireland not. They didn't want a border. So how do you organize that? You have to levy import taxes at an existing border that you don't recognize. Same thing. Pushing out all foreign, say Polish, Hungarian, or whatever people that worked in Britain, has put a tremendous pressure on the labor force. And so industry and commerce certainly have suffered a hell of a lot in England.
And health services, hospitals.
Hospitals, yeah.
Many of the
Healthcare.
nurses in the hospital were foreigners, but they were sent home. So now they complain they don't have the personnel in the hospitals. So
Well, all the hospital people are coming in.
Well, there's a demand for people in the medical
I'm
sector.
serious.
No, it's true, it's true.
There's a huge exodus of health professionals coming out of the UK to Australia because they're fed up with the situation.
Correct.
And in hospitality as well.
So if you go further, will they ever return? Maybe, but right now the whole setup is no longer to be open for starting up endless negotiations.
All right. Anybody else?
it will not be for soon if it ever happens. I wonder if it ever happens.
Yeah. Okay. Look, if there's no other questions, Gauthier and B, thank you so much for your presentation this morning. Certainly opened my eyes to what's happening in Europe, and I think there's similar sorts of challenges overseas that we have here in terms of getting together with other clubs and perhaps growing our clubs and such. But whilst you're here, enjoy your time in Australia, and thank you so much for being here again this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Something I didn't realise it was two. There's one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.